Hi. Today will be a longer one again, I think, because there's been a lot of things happening and a lot of difficult decisions in my life. I actually forgot how much I talked about, so I will most likely retread some ground. Mm, I currently feel like my ex partner hurts me more with a new thing every week. That's not on purpose. It's just the unfortunate reality of living in the same space with your ex partner and, just everything that comes with it. And it sucks. It's extremely hurtful and it sucks. And it's not like they're doing it on purpose, but it sucks. And yeah, it's hard to deal. I also had an absolutely atrocious work week last week. Not because it wasn't fun or cool, because it was just way too long. I worked way too many hours again, and I was sad and annoyed the entire yesterday. Like, I did nothing with my Saturday. I couldn't. I barely got out of bed. I doom scrolled YouTube, which I normally don't do anymore, like, ever. It's just too much energy gone into that. Yeah, I talked a lot with friends. I talked a lot with people at work who know me pretty well by now because I spend more time with them than with actual friends. It's just I figured some stuff out about life. I hate driving by car. I hate it. I'd rather take longer in public transport than I'd like to drive by car. The only exception is the amount of time I save by just going to work by car, and that is solvable by just moving somewhere else. I don't have to compromise anymore with tinfoil that this is the space that is acceptable for both of us. I can just decide where to go. That that thing annoys me. Oh my god. That looks so much larger on camera than it is here. God. Better, I hope. Nope, it sure still is there. Okay. It's actually starting to peel off the paint. Never mind then, I can't fix that then. And that obviously makes sense why it's worse on video than IRL because the light it reflects. Yeah, so I'm dealing with a lot of compromises that I made over the past 5 years of my life that are just not necessary anymore, that I can just decide to change, like my living situation. Um, and I'll get back to that. The other things are I would rather live on the countryside. I don't go outside anyways, and if I go outside, it's to be in nature, which yes is possible in the city. I have an extremely fortunate space here. That's why the compromise even worked. But it's different just on the countryside. That's it. Second thing is, I want to be able to get to work with public transport. And I'm not restricted to tinfoil getting to work by bike anymore. I can just be outside the city. The other thing is just generally what I want. I hate renting. I think that's not a huge surprise. I think nobody particularly likes renting. They like the place they rent. They have a landlord or a landlady that is nice to them at max, but most people just still dislike renting. And I think it is for a pretty obvious reason. The same amount of money I could be saving up or paying into something I actually can change something about. There are so many small things in this apartment that are annoying that I can't change. It's exhausting. I just wish to be able to change a few things about this apartment and I can't because my landlady specifically stated, "No, I like it about like the like that, or even better, that they prefer it that way, and I can't do that." And the other thing being just like, not only do they prefer it, I would have to pay for it, you know, and then I would be putting in money into an apartment that's not mine. I would drive up the value of somebody else's property. That's diametrically opposed to how I work. I don't like that. I think that's awful. And yeah, so I hate renting. I think it's better on the countryside as far as I've heard, because it's basically what you have in the city is scalpers. Like they can ask for whatever anyways, like, so they do. And yeah, like mine is particularly cheap actually for being in the city. Gotta give credit where credit is due. But yeah, it still sucks. I still hate it. And yeah, it's just, I have saved enough money that I could buy a small apartment on my own, and I could pay the monthly stuff in there. And the main question for me was the entirety of last week. But which size? And do I do that now or do I do it later? Like, do I still wait a few years? And I talked with a good friend who, in some part, helps me manage my money. I've talked to my parents. I've talked to work colleagues, like I said, and one thing, like, imagine Tinfall moving out of this. Like, for example, the entire part back behind me here is gone. All of these books are gone. Like, imagine how this is a 45 square meter home. Small. Imagine the amount of space in here. There's stuff over here as well. I will populate like 25% of this apartment. And this is 45 square meters. And I don't mean, yeah, but you're using the kitchen fully, you're using the bathroom fully. No, that's not what I mean. I mean the actual living space. I populate like 25%, and the 25% is my bed and my desk. Finished. Done. That's it. The couch here exists to fill space. I've not used it except for an extra bed. Ever. Not in my last apartment. Not now. This is something that my parents said, which I agree with. I think it's a really cool area here. It's just not something I care about. Like, when would I use a couch? I have a bed where I can lay in, or I have a really comfy office chair that I can sit in. Why would I ever need a couch? Except if somebody wants to sleep over at my space. So I don't even use this. So, of the entirety of this thing, I use the desk setup with of this room, which is the biggest room in the apartment. I use the desk you see me on every week, and this, like, only this one. This is not my stuff, with some exceptions, but I could bring it under this. Okay, I use this lamp. But like, you notice what, like, none of this is actually something I care about. I'm happy in a very small space. I think I'd be happier if I could bring some of the stuff that I have downstairs upstairs, but that just means I want a closet and one of these, maybe for my games. I would enjoy being able to have a nicer console setup than I currently have, because they're just stacked in my desk. But that's also a really cool and efficient setup. I would just like the cable management to be a custom solution. You know how cool that would be if I would be like, yeah, let's work on that. I would enjoy having a desk where I can adjust the height. I would love that. Because sometimes I just want to stand at home, or should just stand at home. Like work colleagues of mine told me they have that, and they have gotten a walking pad underneath, which is literally just for walking, right? And I think that would be extremely a lot more healthy for me. They say after a while you just turn it off in your head. They do it while working, they do it while playing something, and like the only stuff that they don't do it during is while they play something semi-competitively. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And they walk like 2 kilometers per hour, like really slowly, just absent-mindedly, and it's so much more healthy than me sitting here for multiple hours while playing Moonstone Island, which is not a game where you need a single brain cell for, in my case. And it's cool. I like those ideas, and those are things that would genuinely improve my life. And it's not the rest of the space. I like my bed. It's great. It's everything I need as a secondary space. I'm happy with it. I use like 25% of the closet, like of the where I put my clothes. That kind of closet. It's fine. I don't need more. I can put that extremely nicely somewhere. I can optimize it for being easy to clean. I can, and that's the ideas I have. So, I talked to my parents, right? And they say, yeah, but what if I get a new partner at some point? 2-room apartment that I own, or small 3-room apartment even, it sucks if you're 2 people. Which I agree with. This apartment sucks for being 2 people in it. You really have to appreciate one another and know each other for a long time to be able to exist on this amount of space. And it just didn't work out even when we were together. To some extent, because they have a chaos and I hate chaos. No judgment here. And it now even more sucks when we're broken up. So, sure. They say 4-room thing. And I talked to my guy who helps me manage my money, and he was like, yeah, but if you want to go for that, it's usually 450,000, and then you have to renovate it. So you want 50,000 on the side afterwards. And approximately, or you just accept that it will suck and your bills are high. Fair. So in Austria, you should have approximately quarter of the absolute value of what you buy currently in already there existing. So if we talk about 450k, we're talking about 115k that I should have on the side, and then everything for renovations, so another 30-40k afterwards, most likely. That's a lot of money. And I thought about it, and it was like that. Then I remembered a video I've watched. I'll actually look it up in the meantime. It is a video by the channel called Moon Channel. They're a lawyer, and they talk a lot about culture stuff, mainly actually. They're really cool. I enjoy their content a lot. I think it's super interesting. I forgot which video it was. It might have been the Lost in the Pain, Clair Obscur, and the Cost of Comfort. Sounds like something where he would put it in, but yeah, I would have to watch through some of them, but that would make a lot of sense to me. So what am I talking about? Which statement did he say? He said, you should, when growing up, which I'm still doing, obviously, the 20s are for figuring out who you actually are, usually. Shoutouts to our society working like that. So, he said, and he specifically takes owning a house as a very Americanized example, but still, an example. Is it your dream Or is it a dream that society expects of you? Would you be equally as happy with renting? Would you be happier with just like not having to figure that out? Is it something you expect of yourself, or do you actually want that? And obviously, the way that I talked about it, I actually want that. But the sentiment is there. You have to apply that. And I think that's an extremely smart statement, and I'm super appreciative of Moonchannel for making that statement. Because I've never heard anybody else talk about it. Genuinely. And it's, but which part of it is my dream? And I talked to my work colleagues, and they were like, yeah, it sounds like you just want a 2-room apartment. As long as it's on ground floor, you don't even want a garden because that's something to deal with. You'll just be happy there. And that's also their impression they get of me. And they know me for like 2.5 years, and those are like the people I spent the most time with in the last 2.5 years. And usually the way that I work is every 2 years I reinvent myself in some new way, because I decide I don't like this part about me, so I completely change it from one day to another to try to make it into a routine of mine. It's it's only been a year since I started the health journey. We'll get to that again, by the way. There's updates there. But yeah, it's and then I talk to my parents, and like I said, they tell me it's a 4-room apartment. You need that, otherwise you'll not be happy in the long term. And I'm like, by now it's their expectation of me. It's what they've been telling me since I told them my dream. That's not my dream. That's my parents' idea for me. And they say, like, just wait a year or two. Wait a few more years. I also tell you the morbid reality. They say, hey, we are gladly financially supporting you, but, which, of course, this is less morbid, like, I hope you understand what I mean. I'm not calling out my parents on being really weird people. They are like, but they basically are waiting for the inheritance from my grandparents before they can support me with stuff. And they are like, it will not take that long anymore. Which I agree with, that's the most realistic thing. And I think that's their way of already starting to grieve with that. Not something I want to properly get into, but apparently my grandfather is by now dealing with a lot of dementia. Yeah, it's hard for me because I haven't had a lot of contact in the last few years because of my mom's inacceptance of tinfoil and her being really afraid of how my grandparents would react. So I just kind of reduced contact in general, which sucks, but yeah. Side tangent aside, then I would have a lot more capital. I would have the capital for this 4-room apartment. I don't care. If I had 4 rooms, I'd have to clean them. I'd have to figure out, like, one is a bedroom, okay. What do I want in a bedroom? I want my clothing there. I want everything actually there. Preferably, I want the bathroom to be adjacent to my bedroom. That would be my ideal world. I would love that. That I don't have to leave into a walkway or through another room just to optimize the distance from shower also back to clothing. I think that would take a lot of mental strain away from me because of the way that I work. I would enjoy there being everything there in my immediate vicinity that I need to get ready in the morning. And that's it. That's what I want from my bedroom. I don't want anything else in there. So let's be realistic here. The entirety of things you see in there, and you know how large a desk is, right? you could remove that size of the room. You could remove that and I'd be happy. I would still get in there my books. I would love that. I think that would be really fun. I think getting my handheld consoles like Nintendo DS and stuff like that in there would also be possible then. And I need less space than I already have in this apartment, which is small. But I don't need more. I'd be more happy with it being closer together because it's less of a hassle. Imagine being able to get your shirt and stuff without really getting up. I could just do the thing. As silly as that sounds, but you know, since I've had depression for 50% of my life, more most likely, I know what I hated back then. I'm not as depressed anymore. I think I'm currently a bit depressed again, but that's but yeah, generally I'm not depressed anymore. But I still appreciate those optimizations. Also, what if I am in a slump again? Would I not want it to be as easy as possible for me? I would want that. So yeah, I don't need that much space in a bedroom. Cool. One thing figured out. Next up, what do I appreciate about a desk? Okay, so here's a few more requirements. You see, there's a green screen here. I would love to be able to just have that in the same place the entire time. I would love to have it open. I would love to have my games around. I would love to have a console set up. I would love to have a way to play with multiple people together properly on my desk setup. I would enjoy that a lot. Doesn't need that much space, but needs more space than the bedroom most likely. Because I have a lot of consoles. I have a lot of games. I would enjoy that. I think that would be great. And do I need a living room? I think there's a societal expectation that I should have a living room. I think that I would have a living room just so I can have a living room in case a person visits me. And that's true, most likely. But I'm still thinking about having a living room. So why? Okay. I think like modern apartments usually have the kitchen integrated into a room. Having a room in which I can cook, in which I have a table that can store something in it. Like a friend of mine from Berlin, he has like this table that his dad and him made where you can lift off the thing for board games. I think that's sick. I just think that's cool. I just think that's really cool. And I think I could see myself having a living room with a couch, with a couch table, with a proper table, with some seating opportunities to just have a venue for stuff that's non-screen related. To just have a hangout space, to basically have a small community center set up and be like, yo, you wanna come by to do some stuff here? Hey, you're having a stressful time at work, do you want to use this as an office? I think that would be sick. To have a space designated for me interacting with other people and me being able to provide something for other people and it having a use case for me as well. I think that would be lovely. I would love that, dude. That's why I'm thinking 3 rooms. Small 3 rooms. I don't need more. Like this room's small. I'd enjoy this. I'd enjoy this size of room. I wouldn't have the desk here. I would most likely still have the amount of things here to store things like board games, to store things like the games I rarely need. Just random assortment of things. I think I would set like I would put some of the stuff that like I have figurines and stuff currently in the bedroom, like around here on the side wall. That also shows you how small that room is. If this is where, yeah, I would, because if I have this green screen open, I don't. There's no reason to put it in the background except for video filming stuff, which I don't have a video editor and I hate editing. Let's be realistic here. As much as I love writing, as much as like I like doing outlines, I would have to figure out a way where editing would happen, and I would be such a perfectionist that I couldn't afford that. But yeah, I would have. I could have that. I could have decorations. I could have designated plant spots. I love plants. They're a bit of a responsibility. It's difficult for me. I will mess up. I hate that already. But I think that would be cool. I love plants. They should be allowed a space. And that's why I'm thinking small 3 rooms maybe. So I talked to the guy that that helps me with finances, and he was like, small 3-room apartment, larger 2-room apartment. That would be around 250,000, maybe 300 at worst. Completely newly renovated. Should be doable, especially on the countryside. And I'd have the quarter of that. That is a possibility right now. I could have that. And the same friend told me last time we talked, where we talked about, yeah, should I invest more? Because that would make sense if I want to wait another few years. Or at least a year, or should I liquefy? Should I try to, you know? And I talked to him, and he had a life-changing accident a few months back. He had permanent hearing issues now. The other person died, like awful stuff. I don't want to bring it up too much. But afterwards, there's a purpose in it. Afterwards, like, his car was completely totaled. And afterwards, he was like, I need a new car. And he's not, like, super well off. And astonishingly, he's not that great with money. But he knows what he likes in life. And he went onto the Mercedes website, ordered a car. Just didn't test drive it, nothing. He just ordered a car. It arrived, and he's never been happier. I have saved up for half of my life now, pretty accurately. I think it was even before I was 14, actually. That was just when I had jobs. I skipped out on lunch to save up the money my parents gave me for food at school, in middle school already. They gave me like $5 for every day I had a break in between lessons, and I saved it up for years. That was how obsessed I was with saving. That's how obsessed I am with saving still now. I barely ever buy myself anything nice. Even though obviously, I live extremely cheaply, I could afford it. I pay into I pay into a retirement fund for myself. A lot of money, actually. I still save on the side every month. The only thing I splurge on was stuff for my ex-partner. I would try to, be nice. And it's not like I'm super stingy and never do anything for anybody else, but that's it, only for other people. I never do something for myself because I don't need large things. I buy my controllers for $500, but that's like twice a year. And I know that is a lot of money. But, like, have you listened to me? I'm sorry, that sounds stupid, but, like, it's not that much money for me if that's my only hobby. I sometimes buy Steam games when they are 80% off on my wish list. I drink my smoothie every day. I think that's one of the bigger expenses for me actually that are regular. I go to the gym now. That's one of the bigger but like it's tiny things. Like it's maybe for things that I actually care about, I spend 2,000 a year. That's less than I earn in a month. That is approximately what I have left over usually after approximately 3 months. So I use only a quarter of the expendable income I have. Expendable in quotation marks, because I live extremely cheaply, right? It's and the expendable income already subtracts the savings, by the way. Like realistically, I don't need to earn that much money. Okay. And now the next step. Will that ever change? No. I don't think that will change. So, when I have my own place, I still will have a loan. I'll pay that off in the long run. I get rid of the car. God, the car I forgot about. That's actually the most expensive part about my life. Like the insurances and stuff. Like, and paying for the gas tank every month. I only have to pay once a month because, again, I hate driving. I still go by bus everywhere in my free time because I hate the emotional stress of thinking about having to find a parking spot and being reliant on traffic to be on time. It's much easier for me to handle it if I sit passively and just, oh, it's late. Yo, I'm in the bus. It said it would arrive on time, but I'm not there yet. There's so much less stress there for me. I can play chess on my phone in the meantime. Yo, there's so much time and stuff. Okay, so I'd get rid of my car. Oh, that would be so nice, dude. I could get rid of my car that I barely ever use. I could get for like 1,300 the Austria-wide ticket that you're just allowed to drive with. I could visit Dog in Vienna for free basically then, because I would need that for work anyways, and it would be cheaper that way than, because I think it would be €5 a day for every work day that I would have to go to work. Then I would optimize home office. I hate home office, so realistically I drive 5 times a week. That's already it. I think that even counts towards going to Munich. So until Munich, my ride would be free. So even any visit in Germany is a lot cheaper, because even if I go to Berlin, I usually change trains in Munich. That would have a lot of advantages. And I could just be more free. Like people talk about, yeah, but the car is the freedom. Not if you hate driving. Not if your goal is Vienna, where you don't get a parking spot except if you phone a friend. Not if you're like, hey, I've never been to insert space in Austria. Do you want to just go there? Sure, I can do that. Just spontaneously tomorrow. I don't have that freedom. I could, but yeah, but a gas tank is 60 and we'd have to figure out driving and parking spot there. Can you look that up? No, we could just sit down and chill. I think public transport is extremely freeing. And God, especially since the drivers have become worse. Since, like, everybody is stressed on the road. It's so hard. I see it every time. I'm such a defensive driver, and I'm like, yeah, let's be safe there. Oh, somebody cut me in there. Okay, let's take a break. I know the guy behind me is driving like this on me, so I'll slowly decelerate, even though I'm terrified. It's like a lot of mental stress to me, especially currently. Okay, that sounds cool. And I still think that it would suck at work. I walk the time that, like, the time that I need from the bus station to work in walking is 80% of what I drive to work in the morning. That's just it. That's true. That would still extend the time I need to go to work. I'd most likely not be able to go as soon because, but it also isn't necessary anymore because the reason why I wake up so early is because the traffic lights aren't on yet, and I take like 50% less time. Okay, so now that we have established all of what goes through my head constantly, I think an apartment, 3-room apartment, where I would basically have one of the rooms be a community center with, I think I would be extremely happy. And I could afford that currently because I've been stingy all my life and I'm tired of living for the future. I want to cash it in now. I've lived for the future my entire life. I was saying that I've been saving since no, I'm pretty sure I saved up even when I got like €2 a week when I was a child. I saved it up. I never spent it on anything. Never. Anytime I get money for having good grades, I'd save it up. And I was motivated just by saving stuff up. And I'm ready to be happy with that stuff. I have built my future. I want to cash it in at some point. And I think that time is soon. And even if I get an apartment that I'm not 100% happy with, which means the content of it, the outline, like the blueprint, I have to be happy with. Like I can't, but I can change stuff in it. I'm just allowed to change stuff in it. And I genuinely think that at some point, when I have that, it will be the first time when I think about it, I feel relief. When I think about fulfilling that dream, I feel like I've made it. And it doesn't need to be the extent that my parents want it to be. It doesn't need to be any of that. It is allowed to be my dream. And I think I can do that. And I think I'll be there. So now that we figured out what went on in my head for the past week, thank you for still watching this, by the way. Let's talk about the health journey. I didn't go to the gym on Wednesday. I came home at 18:30 after a huge traffic jam as well, but I also worked for way too long. And we said we'd go to the gym at 8 p.m. So 20. So only 1.5 hours. I cooked. I fed the cat. I was like, I have to get going. And now already after my way home, I wrote my gym buddy, yo, I'm so done. Can we move it? If you don't try, I'll just be there at 8. But I'd really prefer if it move it. And right when I was trying to get up to get to the gym, he was like, yeah, I'd also prefer it. I was in the same traffic jam, but in both directions. He didn't work as long, but God, that day sucked. He said, he yesterday when we were at the gym, he told me about, he's a motorcycle enthusiast, and he got a new, what's it called? I'll Google the translation. Exhaust. Yeah, I knew it before the site loaded, dude. He got a new exhaust for his motorcycle, which is angled differently. It is angled like 45-degree upwards, and he was like, "Yeah, it should be fine with his with his blinkers and with the license plate stuff and stuff." And then he drove, and they melted, which sucked. So he bought a new license plate holder. He bought new things, and then he tried, and they still got warm. Then he bought another new for $300. And he got it and he put it on and it got a tiny bit warm. And he was like, yeah, I can fix that. I just changed a bit how it's screwed, and it fell down and it broke. It shattered. So he bought another one for $300. And for that one, he actually had to drive the 1 hour and 1 hour. So he was out $700 that day, basically, because that's when all of the stuff arrived, so he could build it. So that's the day he lost the money. and then was like, yeah, now I have to go to the gym, even though I would like to be able to handle this to the end. And he was very appreciative as well of being able to move it. So we moved it to yesterday. But Friday is my normal day, so I feel inclined to go again. Also, I added, I didn't tell you about it. I want to go to the gym twice by now. I really enjoy it, and I should go on my own at some point. And I'm thinking about when, because yesterday we did upper body, and it's the thing I'm by far the most comfortable with doing on my own, because we've done it the most. We've had one leg day, and the reason why we only had one leg day is because I attach myself to my gym buddy. Oh, sorry, I hit you. I attach myself to my gym buddy, and Wednesday is usually his upper body strength training. He goes to the gym like 3 to 4 times a week. And he also looks like that, yeah. So on Wednesdays, usually it's upper body strength, so I did that the most, and we did one leg day. And the reason why he also said that he didn't rearrange, like, he's super nice. He rearranged his stuff for that, and he was like, it's just 4 machines. There's no variance. This is what he recommends. And we only did it once. I would need a second time to remember everything and understand it. But that way I now had 4 times upper body strength training, and we have a routine there now. I noted down what weights I can do. I noted down what the regular routine is. But that's the thing. I would love to go to the gym today because I have honestly nothing better to do. But I don't know how to do the leg training properly. Also, and I went yesterday, so I can't do upper body strength again. It doesn't make sense. But I'm motivated. And I have the time now that I don't have a partner to also spend time with. Yesterday I'm tired. It's Sunday. So yesterday, Saturday, I felt like I wasn't able to do anything. I needed an entire day of recovering because I worked so hard last week. But God, it was fun. Dude, it was so good. We did so many cool things. It was... Oh, I'm not allowed to disclose anything, but there's so much cool stuff happening at work currently. And all the parts that suck still suck. But they're trying to do something for me, which I appreciate. That's the main thing I want, right? Feeling movement, feeling listened to. That's all I ever ask for. I know that an entire company can move at the speed of one person. Of course. So, okay. Brain. God, I was excited. So health-wise, I'm doing super well. I have no motivation for Celeste currently. I have motivation to play other games. I have motivation to play multiple other games. I don't have motivation for Celeste. I tried it. I opened it. It wasn't very fun. Why? I think it is because I'm super exhausted. I think it is because I need the discipline in my life to improve at something in my health currently, and not in Celeste. Maybe I can split that? Also Japanese learning. God, I love it currently. I put a lot of work into that. Half an hour a day, but that's still a lot, right? In a week of mine. I just have so many things that I consider productive. And something that I've always enjoyed is I consider Celeste productive. It just to be like that. It is something that I improve in and that I consider productive. Currently, I feel like I'm done with too many productive things. So one of the productive things that I think is least productive for me right now personally falls out of that equation, which is Celeste. and is streaming. I think that's the most logical answer. I'm unsure whether it's actually true or whether that's the actual solution, but it feels like that's how I work. I know me pretty well by now. That feels like how I work. So that's that. Okay. Let me sort my brain cells real quick. Okay, both of them have moved to the correct placement. We can continue. Okay, no, my concentration was just on that joke, which was an awful joke. Health journey-wise, I'm doing super well. I've talked a bit about brushing my teeth with colleagues. I know, out of the blue. But I love my colleagues. And they talked about, how in their teenage years they didn't care. And I talked about, that's something I also didn't talk about here yet. Dude, when I was a teenager, and I hated brushing my teeth, dude. I did mouthwash, and I put the electric toothbrush, I put it on the side, so that my parents thought I was brushing my teeth. And I just waited there. Very neurotypical of me. And I can't believe I've never had tooth issues. Never. Like, no major ones. I never need, I don't have a hole, I don't need fillings, nothing. No, nothing. And they told me a thing. And and they were very honest. And what everybody in the round being honest does to you is also being honest to yourself for once. I think that is such a healthy discussion, and I love my workplace for that. I love these people. And they were like, they brush with like an ultrasonic one, and the other one was like, he changed from electric to like from supersonic to electric, because he talked to his dentist, and you need like 7 minutes of brushing with the supersonic one to get to the same effect of 4 minutes of the normal electric one. And as they were talking, and they were like, I brush like half a minute every single thing, and I was like, I don't know how long I brush my teeth. And then one guy said something extremely honest, which I appreciate you for forever. I think if I didn't have my electric toothbrush screaming at me for doing every part of my mouth for half a minute, I think I'd brush my teeth for only like a minute or two. And I think I'm doing that. Not consciously, but I'm like, I hit every corner, right? I'm golden. I will change that. It will take more time, but that's the point. I use mouthwash. I floss every day in the evening. I take the time for that. Why don't I take the time for proper brushing teeth? Okay, we got that. Really a thing I need to do. It's one of the next healthy things I'll try. Again, I don't have any tooth issues. None at all. So, I don't have motivation to stream currently. I don't have motivation to play Celeste, but I was still talking about a specific stream setup. Why? Because I think it will come back. Because I think that my last week, which you might notice by this being a 50-minute long video, was one of the busiest of my life in terms of what went on in my head. And that's fine. I think it's healthy that I can just say, I can't do that today. I'm too mentally busy. Hello. How are you? I'm glad that you're up. Do you want me to put this thing for you properly? I'm sorry. She needs her rucksack to be properly placed on the ground so she can actually lay on it. Is that better? Sorry. I think all of this would be healthy. that I talked about. I think I have a path forward. I think there's a lot changing. No. And I think I'm doing extremely well. I think I'm doing stuff that I should have done like 2 years ago, that I now get around to doing because I put the time into myself again instead of tinfoil. Which, again, is not a... They didn't ask me to. It was important to me. And I don't feel like that is time wasted. Even though I'm not... like, we're not interacting the best currently. I still want the best for them. Please. But now I'm here for myself. And only myself currently. I still care about friends. I still care about work. I still care about colleagues. Yes, I still am myself. But my main focus of the person who needs to get healthier the fastest is myself. And I'm doing that. Even more than I was before. I started this journey after tinfoil got so much better that I felt like I was allowed to concentrate on myself again. And now that they are not in my life the same way, I have even more energy towards this now. And that's cool. And I'm enjoying that. And maybe I stream today. Maybe I'll stream studying Japanese today for 2 hours because I'm motivated. Maybe I just go out because it's actually a beautiful day. Maybe I don't know. I don't know yet. But I'm motivated at 8:30 a.m. And yeah, I think I've talked about this multiple times. I think I'll be happier than ever. I personally really think that I'll get there. Soon even. So much sooner than I thought I would. And yeah, I really hope that. And I think I can do it. And to still be safe, not taking any risks that are atypical for me. To be there for friends as well. One of my best friends is currently writing master thesis. I want to support them in that. Dude, The Amazing Digital Circus will come to cinema soon. Dude, I'm so excited. I'm going with Doc. Dude, it's so cool. It's coming to Austria. I never thought of that when they announced that. I was like, maybe we have some very weird indie cinemas that do that, but it's Cineplex, dude. The chain, they got them. What? That's insane. Also, fuck you to every single person who thinks it's bad that they have 2 weeks of in between them releasing it online. Dude, do you know how hard it is to get those deals for an indie studio? Especially only 2 weeks running up? That's the time they make the most money off of it. It will be free online afterwards. Are you insane? Do you know how cool Glitch is for that? Brother, chill. I get that you don't want to be spoiled. I understand that. But just don't interact with the communities until then. Go out of your way to not be spoiled. Go offline for a few weeks. Off of YouTube or something. If it's hard for... and off of social media. If it's hard for you, look at it as a detox. But don't be angry at the company who's trying to make the best possible for indie creators. That is a huge achievement for the goal of their company. Which are great goals, by the way. The cat is eating the backpack. Yeah, so super excited about that. Super happy about that. I'm enjoying life currently. Despite it being so awfully hard currently, dude. It's so hard. Man. But I'm doing my best. I'm doing my hardest and I'm motivated and I'm not depressed for a big step once in my life. I was depressed last time I moved out from my parents, which was a big step. I was depressed all the time before, basically. I'm here to enjoy my big decisions. And yeah, I'll eat breakfast now. I'll figure out breakfast. I'll figure out my day. Maybe I'll stream. Maybe I feel depressed in half an hour again. I'll figure out over the course of the next week with my financial advisor friend what we actually can do. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I can't quite afford it with still having proper savings on the side. Maybe I have to invest basically 99% of my savings into this. Maybe my parents are the ones who would be my fallback in case something big happened. And I think I'd be fine with that. And I'll figure it out. And I think I can fulfill my longest dream, finally. We'll see. I'm super optimistic currently. If you actually made it here, thank you so much for listening for 256 minutes of my ramblings. I know the other... Okay. I know that the shorter videos are more appreciated. I know that. I can see the views, I can see the likes. I know that my happy videos are more appreciated. I see it. It's weird. Because to me, the important part to get out there is a lot of the times the negative stuff. I'm really happy to share the positive things, but it's weird. Because I would love my brand to be very positive. So I appreciate all of you enjoying the more positive parts of my life more. It's still weird. It's the public perception does not influence which videos I make. I do not think about that when I sit down. That's what I can say. Most likely it influences me, right? It's unrealistic to think that, oh no, the numbers that I see once a week do not influence myself. The amount of comments I get that I appreciate, actually, that I really enjoy people interacting with the diaries I put out there. To say that I don't care about them would be a complete lie. To say that that doesn't influence my happiness at times is also a complete lie. Because sometimes I see a comment and I'm like, yo, that's sick. I'm super happy. And sometimes I see a comment who doesn't get what I'm doing here with my diary and I'm like, good for you. I love life. Life is so cool. I have set myself up for such a good life. By being extremely lucky. If you don't know what I mean by this exact statement, there's a video on my channel. It is Hi, I'm Ryan or something like that. It is diary entry 13. There I explain who I really am. How I work and everything. If you want to know what I mean by that, watch that. I will not repeat it. It's way too long of a story. But I've been extremely lucky and I've worked extremely hard. I'm so happy. And I will cash it in, I think. I'm 99% sad. And I think it will make me happy. And I hope that it will actually be, because it's still a huge thing, a huge step. And I'm working towards it, and I'll continue to study Japanese, and I'll improve as a person, and I'm motivated, and I enjoy Japanese, and I think... Okay, I hope I'm not frightening the cat. And I'm even motivated. I would love to learn a second language. I asked Tinfoil whether, because they enjoy studying languages, whether they would advise me to do more. Like multiple languages at the same time, because I feel like you only should do so much for one language a day, and they said no, that's not good. Appreciate the advice, but I would enjoy learning a more common language afterwards, like Spanish, for example, or even French. I would love those languages in my vocabulary. But realistically, how much time does Japanese take for me? Wait, that's it. That's a huge thing. So since I started, I played and therefore practiced approximately 30 hours of Vagotabi, right? And it's approximately 7 hours each week, so half an hour a day. A person in my chat, shoutouts to you, Yuki, said that they've been studying Japanese for 2 hours a day for the past 2 weeks, for the past 2 years. And that's approximately, they are approximately fluent to the point where they are happy with it. That way I would take 8 years. But should I, like, think about it in your school when you studied a second language? Shoutouts to my European audience. Hi, America. You don't know what that feels like, except if you actually took Spanish on purpose. When you learned English, how long until you were feeling fluent? End of high school? Yeah, it was like that for me. And now think about how many hours you had per week. For me, it was 2. And that was like with a teacher. Yes, there was essay writing, which I will not care about in Japanese. But still, it was 2 hours a week. You had homework as well. So let's say you studied English 2 hours a week. Also, you're talking in English, most likely. You consumed content in English, which I will do in Japanese. But let's be realistic. 8 years until I feel confident in my Japanese ability is realistic. And it's my first year. It's my quite about my first month, right? Bit longer, maybe. Yeah. I'm fine with that taking time. I'm fine with starting a new language at 35. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm fine with starting the next one with 43. I'm fine with that. But I think being able to communicate with a lot of people in the world that you appreciate and consuming content in languages that people feel comfortable in, I think that's a valuable goal. Although I never liked learning languages, I'm enjoying myself currently. So maybe that's how I continue. Maybe I'll actually take a university course. It's $20 per semester to inscribe myself in the university in Europe. And then I can just take any amount of courses I want. Dude, there's so many cool courses in the world. On the topic of that, that's something I forgot to talk about. Short video, I know. If this is my dream, and the dream is affordable, I might not have to work 40 hours a week anymore. Okay, so that might be an important thing. I work 50 anyways, right? like let's be realistic. But I mean, in the long run, at some point I could cut it down to 32. I think that would be cool. And I think that would be healthy for my brain. Or 30. Even 6 hours a day. Because with the loan I would have to get for that, the payments for the amount of time I expect to work it off would be realistic. And that's also a huge thing, right? Like, I'm doing everything I do currently, but let's be honest, I'm below 30. Do I have the energy to do that in 10 years, 15 years? Maybe. I am now building up more energy than ever. I've always had a large mental fortitude. Is large even the correct word? Big? You tell me, native speakers. I think yes. But thinking expectations in 10 years is a huge different thing. Okay. I just had an idea. Let's make a projection. Usually people say, where will you be in 5 years? And I think that's an awful way. Because, like I said earlier, I reinvent myself every 2 years approximately. Where do I see myself in 2 years? I see myself in 2 years in my own apartment that I own, in a space that I'm really happy in. Still doing the same job at the same company. I do see myself doing that. It would be extremely risky if I said anything else currently, but I don't think I would care about that. Hard to say. Yeah. These 3 things. I see myself being more social. But in my way. I think I'll have a group of people I regularly game with, either board game or something else. I think I'll be financially stable. I'm interested in how I deal with loans. There's 2 parts of me. That's an important thing. There's the one part of me who says it's a monthly payment. I can abstract it. Cat, are you fine? It's just a monthly payment that I know I'll have to make for the next 15 to 30 years. I don't know, most likely 30. Sure. And there's the other part of me. Yeah, but if I save enough, I could make a larger payment one month that's also less interest that I'll have to pay. Oh, that sounds... Oh, I'll just focus on the money. And that's the part of me I think I will puff. Let's be realistic about myself. So, I see myself working the same job in my own apartment, having a loan. My main focus in life being paying off that loan. Cheaping out on nice things for myself because I'm trying to pay off that loan. That's how I think I will be. Because that's how I am now. And that's how I've been the past 14 years. That would be the financial decision I would make. Putting everything towards paying off the debt instead of making the place nicer. I'll have a substantial saving on the side in case I have troubles. I think I'll have reconnected with my mom properly. I do believe that. That is possible. Especially if I live on the countryside. And the way that she said she'd support me anyways, I hope that is still true, whether I even if I decide differently than she would want to. I think I'll have friends in my vicinity. That's a huge one. I don't have that. I have Doc in Vienna. I have one of my best friends in Berlin. But I don't have friends around. And I noticed that support is missing. I notice how I support my friends in person. When I'm in Berlin, I support him and his friends. I helped a friend of him move. And it was just for the sake of helping. In my home currently, I would do the same for other people. But I also have that mindset that all the people around me is I'm sure you could do that on your own as well. So I don't see the reason to help. And I think for the purpose of me becoming a better person and just generally being happier, I think I should have friends around. And I don't know them yet. I'm pretty sure I don't know them yet. It's very unrealistic that I'll connect with people that much that I already know. Unrealistic. What else is there in 2 years? I think, personally, that I will choose a thing until then that I want to do to better either my community or the world in general. I can see myself regularly donating. Again, I'm not cheap for other people, I'm cheap for myself. I can see making regular community stuff with actual prize money in the Celeste community. Or generally. I can see doing something for the local community. I don't know. I think that will happen. So that's my prediction. It's also in parts of where I want to go. It's an easy prediction, to be honest. We'll see. I'll forget that I made this prediction tomorrow, by the way. But it's a nice time capsule. For anybody who would care. Which I most likely won't. Because I know I'll be happy with myself. Whether this becomes true or not. But it's interesting to look into. Like, my goals as a person are nice. Like, does that make sense? Like, it is soothing for myself that the goals for myself are not selfish. For the most part. That they are positive. And realistic. So, I think I'll eat breakfast now. Making this video, making this diary entry made me a lot happier. And yeah. I think I'll be fine. And I think I can be happy. Bye.